Do you have questions, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Senator Blumenthal, thanks for holding this hearing. It's a very important subject, and I appreciate the fact that your subcommittee is focused on this. A reliable and efficient supply chain is critical to our global competitiveness and to our economy, and the ports are an absolutely vital link in that chain. And what's frustrating is that some of these things are things sometimes you can't control. These things are sort of, I'd say, self-imposed problems. They're really kind of unforced errors, and they are, if you try and quantify this, it's having a profound impact on the economy. And I know some of you in the panel have already testified to that effect. Cargill, $40 million a week. I've talked with Tyson's in my state in South Dakota, and they've shared with me that we've got beef and pork sitting in freezers near the ports instead of heading to Asian markets. And while we've got all these large container ships sitting off the coast waiting to export our nation's products, and that affects jobs. You know, Tyson's employs 41,000 people. That USDA estimates there are 1 million jobs associated with agricultural exports in this country, and so it has a profound impact on the economy, not just on the West Coast, but all across the country, and workers in South Dakota and other places that are dependent upon, like I said, a reliable supply chain. Outdoor Gear Inc., family-owned business in South Dakota. They're a wholesaler. Receives 95% of its inventory from West Coast ports. Has been forced to miss deadlines, pay for late delivery penalties, and pass up important sales opportunities, including in December, which is of course, the holiday peak season. So this is an issue that just really needs our focus, and it's a huge drain on the economy. And I just urge all sides to come to a resolution in this dispute, to find a solution as soon as possible. We just can't afford to drag this on and have our economy pay this kind of a price. And if we can get this behind us, we can start focusing our energy and creativity on a lot of the other long-term infrastructure challenges that desperately need our attention as well. In that light, I wanted to ask a question. I know that I think all of you have attempted to kind of quantify what some of the financial and economic impacts of this have been, but the question I'd like to pose is, once this is resolved, how long will it take to unwind this and to get those networks working in an efficient way again, and where things are sort of normalized? And what are we talking about once we get hopefully, which will be very soon, a resolution to this issue?
So, Senator, I'd answer from our side as the exporter. I think it's an excellent question. Our best estimate is on chilled shipments, it will take at least a month to get back into a normal flow when we can get those products moving through to the high-value markets in Japan and Korea, at least a month. If you move over to the frozen side, the products that we would send to Japan, Korea, China, Mideast, are all around the globe. Our best estimate is 3 to 4 months before we're back to a normal flow. We've moved through the backlog of goods that we have, and that number continues to increase every day.
Senator Thune, from our perspective at the railroad, we certainly stand ready to be able to help the backlog, but what I would say is, because of the challenges that we've faced with not being able to move freight, we have had to store locomotives and equipment across our network. And so there will be some period of time that it will take for us to be able to go and get those assets, reposition them to the port, be able to be in position to handle that. But what I would tell you is we are anxiously awaiting the ability to do that. We will be ready to do that. We have a unique opportunity, as I mentioned earlier before you stepped in that Chinese New Year is coming. And when Chinese New Year hits, we will see less vessels that will be headed towards the West Coast. It would give us an opportunity, if there was a speedy resolution to this current PMA ILWU negotiations, that we could use that time then to work off the backlog that exists at the ports.
Well, I guess I would just reiterate, Madam Chair, and again, thank you for having this hearing, that this is not something that's confined to the West Coast. This has a ripple effect throughout our entire economy. Having an efficient transportation system is really one of the keys to our advantage, our competitive advantage in the global economy. And so when you see this kind of thing happen and recognize the impacts that it has, I would just again encourage all the parties to create a new sense of urgency and build some intensity behind coming to a resolution. We just can't continue to keep this going on and not expect that it's going to have some very, very detrimental and adverse impacts on a whole range of sectors of our economy and on all the jobs that go with it. So, Madam Chair, thank you, and thank the panel for your great testimony today.